Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the MUN training series. In today's video, we're going to talk to you about lobbying, why lobbying is done, how do you lobby well, and so on and so forth. My name is Kevin and I've been training students in Model United Nations and other personality development activities over the past 10 years. So let's get into it. So what exactly is lobbying? And so lobbying is basically understanding what are the interests of all the other delegates in the room and how can you align them with what you have in store for that particular MUN. So say as to how do you understand what are your allies, what are your enemies in that room, and understand what are their ideas, what do they think, what are the different issues that they want to solve collaboratively, and help that entire understanding by being able to provide then solutions based on knowing what everybody wants so that you can then become the most important person in that room and everybody wants to be a part of your document. Now, why lobbying is so important? Because simply lobbying means communication, right? Talking to one another, understanding each other's perspective, and so on and so forth. So you'll ask me then, okay, when does lobbying happen throughout the entire MUN? We have to discuss and know and understand. Lobbying happens majorly in three places. First is before the MUN starts. In multiple places, you will know that before the MUN starts, your groups are made on different social media platforms, or you get to understand it when you just reach the room that, okay, these are the different delegates that are going to be there here. The second space where lobbying happens is in the allocated time that the chairperson has said that, okay, now is this is a time where we would like to open the committee room for lobbying. Please go around, talk to each other. And that's when the executive board will allow you to go out and lobby. And you should rather go out and lobby and talk to one another, understanding these different motives during that time. The next part when active lobbying happens, and a very crucial part when actual lobbying happens, is during your unmoderated caucuses, when you discuss what are the different mod topics that you want to pick up, or when you want to discuss what are the different pointers that you want as a part of your formal document. That is in this particular part where lobbying happens. The next part or the last part where lobbying happens is non-verbal lobbying, and that happens through chits. So when you pass chits around via the chairperson, your chairperson knows that, okay, this particular delegate is having a conversation with each and every other delegate in the room, and it's very important because your chits are also marked. That being said, if you're a good delegate and you're an experienced delegate, you will know this, that lobbying happens everywhere during lunchtime, before lunchtime, probably after the first day of the MUN, when you go back and you've made new friends as fellow delegates in the room. Everywhere lobbying happens. So now then it comes to, why do you need lobbying, right? Why do you need lobbying? Very simple. First is to know who your allies and your enemies are in the room. Whom can you work with and your foreign policy allows you to work with, and who are those nations for that particular committee room where your foreign policy will not allow you to work with. So that's very important to know, and you know that when you lobby with other delegates in the room, knowing their intention, knowing their ideas, knowing what they have to bring to the table. The next idea is to understand what is this common concern that you want to solve. Because simply, if you go out with your solutions out there, you're not going to be able to make an impact as great as you can. So it's very important to know what are these common concerns that all other delegates have, so that then you can come up with a solution that almost fits everybody and they all want to be a part of your solution set that you have. And another part where lobbying is very, very important is to persuade others to join your block. If you're unable to persuade others to join your block, you will be the only one writing the paper or the formal document, whichever you make, whether it's a draft resolution or whether it's a working paper or a communique or a bill. And you won't have the confidence of other delegates in the room. So it's very important to go out there and talk to them, have that conversation, and try to persuade them to bring them to be a part of your block. So that being said, a few great tips that I have in my experience that has really worked out well for lobbying is, first is identify your allies and your enemies as soon as you walk into the room. Go up there, speak who is your ally, who is your enemy, speak to different delegates, understand whether their mindset that they have come with, are they going to support you, are they not going to support you, are they very rigid? Understand their psyche, understand what exactly are they bringing in that space. Next is search countries which have similar interests to yours. Okay, maybe ally, maybe enemy, but search countries that have similar interests to yours. Why is this so helpful? Is because then when you'll have similar interests, your solutions to a particular concern is also going to be similar, because you want to solve a common problem. You're going to collaboratively want to solve a common problem, right? The next understanding of how to be a great lobbyist in the room is to just listen. One of the most difficult skills in this world, but yet so important, is to learn how to listen to everybody and know what are their intentions for that model UN conference. And another great tip for lobbying is to be able to make offerings so that all the other delegates want to contribute to your document. What this means is that when you have a certain set of ideas that you have brought, and you have the structure in place and you have everything in place, all the other delegates naturally would want to be a part of it, because half the work is already done by you, isn't it? And that's what makes for great lobbying, when you know that, okay, these are the concerns, these are the solutions that I can propose, and this is how they will want to join my blog, and they will be okay with me being the author of that particular document. And last is send chits and communicate. For great lobbying and for being in the radar of your executive board as well as of all the other delegates in the room, send chits around the place. Talk to different delegates. Tell them what your interests are. Tell them what do you want to do. Blame a particular country if needed. Offer help from to a particular nation. Ask help from a particular nation. All of it is very important to do good lobbying in your MUN. Finally, to break it down for you, we've just divided lobbying into a certain set of different types of lobbying that we've gotten to see in so many years of doing MUNs, right? So the first type of lobbying is ethical lobbying, where you go up to a delegate, you tell them your proposal and what your ideas are, and you understand what are their ideas, and then you go about convincing them to be a part of your bloc, which is actively done. Then you have unethical lobbying. Unethical lobbying is when you persuade another delegate to go against their foreign policy. So even if their foreign policy, or even if the culture and the norms and various other understandings of their nation don't support it, as a delegate, you still force them to be a part of your bloc, and they agree also to do it. That is unethical lobbying. Another space of where unethical lobbying takes place is when delegates know each other, because now that you once you start going to multiple conferences, you will also get to understand that it's almost the same delegates who come to these conferences in similar circuits, right? And you'll start knowing each other, and when you make these colleagues of yours and friends of yours over these different MUNs, it's unethical to make blocks based on your personal relationships with these particular delegates and sidelining the others. That also being said, so this is a tip to the first timers and who are very new into the MUN situation. Look out for delegates who will persuade you to break your foreign policy and be a part of their bloc. That's one. And second is, if you see that delegates are making blocks based on their personal relationships with each other, try to help them understand that it's not going to help them very much, because at the end of the day, you're there to collaboratively solve a world problem. That being said, the last type is over lobbying. So over lobbying happens majorly in two types. One is when a particular delegate wants to talk too much and just wants the attention of all the other delegates in the room in any of the spaces that he gets or she gets to lobby. Okay, so it's not a good practice. After one point, the chairperson himself will tell you that, hey, calm down, you're causing a disturbance, and the delegates are not liking it. And the other space where over lobbying takes place is when you have irrelevant conversation. We have seen this so many times that there are so many delegates from across the world. When they participate, they want to talk about their personal stories. They want to talk about conversations that are not helping the space and is just wasting committee time in that lobbying session, or when they're passing chits around the place, or when all the other delegates are discussing topics for moderated and unmoderated caucuses. That being said, I hope this video and these few tips brought you a great understanding of how to lobby really well, where can you lobby, and also brought you a clarity of why is lobbying so important and having these conversations with other delegates in the room so important. That's all, folks, with regard to lobbying. For more videos, follow this page if you haven't already, and also subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to come up with a lot of more content based on negotiation and communication skills and so on and so forth. And also, if you want to reach out for a personal training session for your Model UN conferences or for any other skill development activities, do reach out to me via email or through my Instagram. It'll be there, I don't know, somewhere here or there. And yeah, till then, keep munning and keep building a great personality.